The following video contains coarse language. Viewer discretion is advised.
Recording.
What are we recording?
We are recording an Uncle Gramma story time.
Uncle Gramma story time. Nice. He's Uncle Gramma. I'm Gary. This is his story time. And when you sit back and say, hey, nice, I didn't know you could hit the zipper. You sit back and say, what's a story time? It's very simple. He tells us stories from the road as he's played in every single band in the history of Saskatchewan and outside of Saskatchewan. So he's got a lot of stories. He's spent a lot of time on the road, and this is where we showcase them. And I'm noticing right now you did not get to your Tamagotchi AI, did you?
I do. I have it right here. It's
okay,
just
it's not the dirty. What do we call those? These were like Imperial Hammer Pants or something. You know,
those are the comfy pants.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Shit.
It's okay. I'm not too like after last week's trip through Skynet hell. I'm scared of anything coming through here now. It wasn't enough to just create these images. Now he's putting them to life. And
yeah.
Little baby turkey bags, singing doo-wop. Legit. Not fun.
Oh, yeah.
No, those weren't turkey bags. Those are chicken hearts.
Yeah, the chicken hearts. Those were
singing
gross.
doo-wop.
Yeah, that was pretty disturbing.
Yeah, I think I'll pass on that. This is why we worry. This is why we need John Connor.
Okay, I got a couple here.
While you're looking, let me tell everyone about King Palm.
Beauty.
They're awesome.
Yeah.
That's the just. They got flavors, all natural leaf rolls. There's no tobacco in any of these things. You fill them up like an old time Civil War muzzle loader, right in the top. Put it out, fire it up. It's all fantastic. Really great people there, too. We love our friends over at King Palm.
King Palm. Where are they based out of?
Florida.
Florida.
At least the emails go to Florida.
Oh, nice.
I'm not exactly sure where in Florida, but that is where they are.
Always wanted to go. Still had a couple chances to go.
Haven't been to Florida?
No.
Out of all the places you've been?
Have you been to Florida?
Yes.
When, like Disney stuff?
Yeah.
No way.
That was about 30 years ago.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, no, I was super spoiled. That's why I love to give back to people. I always want anyone who wants to experience the privileged life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because life's so hard. So whenever I have opportunities to be like, yeah, I thought everybody just went to Orlando, Florida and went to Universal Studios and did all this stuff. Turns out not that many people did.
No, I never have had the chance.
Yeah, so it's fantastic. And when you're giving back, just like this place, this is what we're talking about. When you got guys that want to create stuff, that's where it's at for me. And whenever I can be like, yeah, you have a studio, create something. And then Uncle Gramma comes in, he's like, yeah, check this shit out. Like, boom. Then you got like the hottest show on the internet. You know what I'm saying?
I know. I get it.
He gets it.
Oh, yeah. So there's a picture video here.
Come on. What the Is that a dire wolf? Is that Ghost? Ghost.
Basically.
I wish I had a dire wolf.
So without guessing, well, go have a guess. Have a quick guess.
Dude, well, I already said it's a dire wolf, but you said not really. So I'm going to say old man in a snowy mountain with a beard and Rosmenko kissing a dire wolf.
Very Rosmenko.
The hat.
Oh, that's what that hat's called?
I believe in Ukrainian circles, yes.
Huh.
Anytime a nickel wears one of those, it's, the Rosmenko. I hope it's not like some sort of slur.
Cool.
I never looked into what it actually meant.
Well, I wrote down Crocodile Dundee type character, so they got that wrong.
Well, you still got it.
Yeah, the AI,
the crocodile's a frickin' direwolf. That's
the
all.
AI thing didn't really do that. But sitting in the snow next to a timber wolf with mountains in the background.
Timber.
I just requested this photo because it's gonna have something to do with the story that I'm about to tell.
I love it already.
So-
I don't love the AI, but I love the story.
like it's in the title of the video cast show that we got going here. It's Uncle Gramma's story time.
It is.
Like probably the first time we were ever on the road together when we went out to
Banff.
the sunny place of Banff.
Beautiful.
You probably heard me tell all these crazy stories of the Yukon.
Yes.
I never shut up about basically two places. Is the Yukon and New Orleans. Those are two
your
places
go-tos.
where I just like
Uncle
think
Gramma's second homes.
my eyes were just wide open all the time. I'm just soaking everything in. I remember so much crazy stuff from both places, and it's all circumstantial. It's like somebody says something, and I'm like, oh yeah, I whatever, met a guy in the Yukon that
They
did
just
something
pop
like
up
that.
all
There's
the
some
time.
really weird stuff.
Yeah.
Like I could go on and on and on, but this morning I had this thing in the back of my mind. It was like, what am I going to talk about on the show today? Have no guests, but
You're looking at a guy who did that for like 8 years on Rock 102.
exactly trying to
Yeah.
figure out what
Well,
are
I
we going to
didn't
talk
try.
about
That's
today.
the thing.
What's
I just didn't. I was like, well, let's see what we're going to talk about today is what I said.
right,
Yeah.
and it would just come up.
And then my bosses hated it, and then they let me go.
Well,
So,
don't
depends
fire
on where you're at. Yeah. No, you're a lifer here, my friend.
Uh,
So you're sitting here, you're doing show prep in your head. You're
Ye-
saying, how can I get this story out there?
yeah, and like I'm thinking like of the people who've known me for the last 20 years probably have heard a couple of these stories before. Specifically, I'm going to be talking about two different people. And in the what do you call it? In the guise of talking about people who have inspired me over the years.
Nice.
And like teachers, people who I consider like a mentor or a teacher. One of them, why I speak about New Orleans all the time is because I had a very nice experience with Mr. Johnny Vidakovich, learning more about music and stuff. He's an incredible drummer, but I always think of that place with him attached to it. Now, the other place in my life, why I talk about the Yukon so much, is because I was young. I was impressionable, 19, 20, 21 years old, going back there every like 6 months. And we had established friendships with all these different people. And a lot of those things were like formative parts of my life where people are normally going to university. I was out traveling in a bus with three of my friends who were all, mind you, 8 to 11 years older than me at the time. And they were out, having a great time before I showed up. But when I showed up, I was this young, impressionable kid who was like, I've never seen anything. I've never been out of Alberta before, like, go
Dare
ahead.
I say that you probably learned more in that time than anyone who went to a university?
Well,
And I'm not joking. Like life lessons.
like, oh, for sure.
How to
Well,
survive.
if
Things that you still use to this day, unlike a lot of
Yeah.
people that go to university.
I would say, I'm not going to say I learned more than anybody else.
I will.
But
I did.
I'll say I learned more there than I would have in post-secondary
Of course.
education. Like, I wouldn't have been paying attention. It would have been a big waste of money.
We don't do
And,
school,
like-
man. Guys like us don't do school. It doesn't work.
No, it was school of hard knocks.
There
and,
it is.
And so we learned a lot of crazy stuff as a group of people, as a band, how to play with the band, how to play with each other, how to be around each other in close quarters for, we were in like a traveling prison cell, I guess you could say it. 4 guys in a, a
If you-
16 by 8 room.
Yeah, dude.
Basically for years.
Farting in
And,
each other's faces. It's
Yeah.
gross.
and it just, you're,
If you got one bad apple too, oh man, that's not possible.
yeah.
The importance of etiquette on the road.
Yeah.
We've talked about it so many times. It's so crucial if you want to survive doing what this guy does.
So I guess here, getting into some of these stories, the first inspirational guy that I guess had in the Yukon was a musician. His name was Howard.
Howard.
A lot of people from Whitehorse and the Yukon, everyone knows who Howard is.
Howard's
If you
the
just
guy.
say the name Howard and you've lived in Whitehorse over the past 35 years, or where is it, 1996, I think he moved there. I started doing a little bit of research. There is research that somebody has put together and put on the internet, which I was very happy to see. Because we met him like previous to YouTube, previous to all social media and everything like that. There wasn't like, we're taking videos of this guy. I was just like experiencing things with him on the daily basis.
Documenting with your mind instead of with your camera.
Yeah. And he was a saxophone player that
love
would
it already.
play out in the street in Whitehorse. And if you're downtown Whitehorse anywhere, you could hear him playing at any time of the day. And you'd kind of just follow the music and you'd go over and see him. And it's like, oh, there he is. And once you get to know him, he would recognize you and he would say certain things. And it was like, yeah, this man had such a amazing perception of the world. Like he looked at the planet as his inspiration to play music. So that's why he would go outside every day and he would entertain people. Yes, he would accept tips and he was busking. He would always accept stuff that was kind of a part of his living. But he would also come out to the open mics at all the different bars and clubs that were in town. And he'd sit in with everybody. He'd sit in with a rock band, a country band, a metal band. Like I remember seeing him sit in with this local like metal band from Whitehorse like quite often and sit in playing saxophone, doing like they're doing like old Metallica covers and Judas Priest and Thin Lizzy and stuff like that. And he's just ripping sax solos all over it. He just didn't care. And everybody was like, yeah, we always want Howard around because he's just such a inspirational person to be around. He just wanted to play music and inspire other people to do so. So when we would sit down and have conversations with Howard, he would speak in he was kind of like a beatnik. He would talk in rhyme and he would
Get
talk
outta
in
here.
rhythm. And like he's not just saying things. He's like trying to create a like a story for you to understand. If he's trying to make a point to you, he'll start well one day and then it just begins. And if you're at a like a live jam when we were playing at these bars, it was like in the 3 hour time that he was there, he would tell a whole story to you in little snippets as he would walk by you. And you as an individual, he's probably doing this to 6 or 7 different people at one
How
time.
did you keep track?
I don't know how he kept track, but he would
Dude.
always have these weird little anecdotes and things to say. And
That were attached to previous?
yeah,
and
and it
that's-
would just like continued
yeah.
stories. And
crazy.
I remember he gave us this thing. It was, I think it might have been one of the last times we seen him, because we had jammed with him quite often. And he gave us this piece of leather. It was about this big, and it had all these shapes and little drawings on it. So there was like a mountain and a sun with like an arrow pointing over to a rock that was, next to a river, and then
Sounds
this
like
and
a treasure map, bro.
this whole thing. And he told us that he charted out this song for us that he wanted us to play. And he handed us that.
How deep is that?
And it was like, maybe a dozen or more images just kind of strewn across left to right. And I asked him, I was like, so that's interesting. How do we read this?
How do we
He's like,
decipher
you don't
this? Yeah.
read, you feel. I'm like, what do you mean? It was like, so does it go left to right? He's like, it can go this way,
Wherever
go
you
that
want
way.
it to.
It's like, which one are you looking at? Which one makes you feel something?
He's
and I'm
like
like,
an old wise wizard.
It was very wizard-like.
Yeah.
And we were all we tried to decipher this stuff for a while and then not realizing that there is no music behind this. It's just this could be inspiring. But just the fact that he said, this is a song. Here, play this for me. And we'd look at it, and like as a group, it was like, I don't know, no one can decide on anything. You just start playing.
Mhm.
And then you're not looking at this thing with all these images on it. You just started and everything just kind of takes off.
Like a starting point.
And then we would jam. And we had some of the most, out of all the jams that we had, some of those were the craziest ones because it was like, what is this? We don't know what we're chasing here. But he just kind of like threw this thing in the middle of the room and we're all attached to it. And it was such a wizard-like thing. If he had a wand, it would be a flute.
I love
like he
Yeah.
He always had
incredible.
a flute sitting out the inside of his saxophone too. I thought that
Come
was like
on.
he just it was like there in case he needed it.
Did he ever play it?
Well, oh yeah, all the time. He would like solo playing sax,
Mhm.
and then he'd move on to another part, and he'd kind of look in the sky like, "Oh, I don't think this part needs it," and he'd swing the sax behind him, grab the flute out of it,
How
and
do you-
just start going. And
Like
it was
that.
like,
Okay.
this is so neat. And he would switch back, and then he'd put it back in there, and like, and then he would call things out to us. Like, it was so fun.
Like
We-
time changes?
you-
Like Marty McFly at the Enchantment Under the Sea dance?
well, like, so you know, have you ever heard the song "Pass the Peas"?
No.
So there's this really cool song, "Pass the peas," like you used to say. "Pass the peas," like you used to say. "Pass the peas," like they used to say. Ah, dun 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 dun.
Everyone knows that. Yeah.
Exactly. That's
Yeah.
"Pass the Peas."
Great song.
So we didn't know that as a rock band at the time. We knew the song, but we didn't know it was called "Pass the Peas."
course.
Didn't know
I
it
don't
was
think
called this.
anybody knows that
So
name for that
he'd
song.
start playing that line, and everyone would just be like, "Oh, that!" Like I'd never played anything like that. So both guitar players are just kind of guessing, just like dink, 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 you know. And the bass and me and the bass player would just continue to play, and we'd let him take the whole line on. But we didn't know the structure of the song,
Of course not.
so he'd look at us just like, "You dummies, you don't even know this." And so, right as the one part of the song says, "Pass the peas," he just yell out, "Pass the potato salad." And looking at us like, "Yeah, you guys ain't got peas. I don't know what you guys are eating at this table, but like, geez, that ain't the peas.
Ain't no fucking peas here, bro.
Give me some potato salad.
Right.
Ham it up, brother." It's like, "Oh, we eating ham. Pass me that." And it was little things like that that we would just interact with. It was so funny. And everyone had
Howard.
these experiences with him.
Howard.
Everybody did. So one of the things that I experienced with him was sitting on the side of like one of the main streets in downtown Whitehorse and listening to him play. And I just sat on a park bench and watched him because I had a coffee in the morning and listening to him play on the street. Give him a couple dollars. He wouldn't interact with me. We'd be in full on conversation the night before, and then I'd see him the next day, and he would
Like you
pretend
don't,
like
you
I
don't
was
even
never
exist.
there
Yeah.
because he's hustling. He's playing on the street, and
He's
so
working.
in this like 2-minute section of my life, this kind of changed my whole perception on music, and I've always thought that this was very important. So as people were walking by, there was a lady walking by with heels on. And he turns over and he just runs, gun, 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 gun. And he's like pointing his saxophone at this lady as she's walking by, playing with the timing of her walk.
Mhm.
And it was just
The
dun,
clack
da,
of the
da, da,
heels.
da, da, da. "Thank you, miss. You have very nice timing." And off she would go on her date, and she'd turn around like, "What?"
What
Like-
just happened?
And then the next guy was like, "Oh, you're in a bit of a rush here, sir. Da, 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 da. Hope you get to where you're going." Da, da, da. And and every person that walked by, he would use them as like what he's about to do, and he would put them into his space, and he would try and like interact with them. And some people would just go on about their day, and others would actually react to it, turn around, maybe give him a couple bucks or say thank you to him. I'm sitting here just watching this like, wow, this is really cool. Like, I've never seen anybody just pull music out of thin air and
It's-
using physical things in his surroundings as inspiration.
It's music improv, bro.
It was super cool.
Yeah.
And having no other instruments or no other musicians to interact with, just people and his surroundings. And then he turns to me, he's just like, "Man, I don't know if you can go and grab your drum kit, but this drummer that I've been playing with all day, he's absolutely insane. I don't know if he's too high. You're drunk. You're drunk." And he's just yelling up at the sky and just like, "What are you talking
is
about? Like, I'm not going to go bring I could go get a snare drum." He's like, "Oh, it might be better than this, drunk dickhead or whatever." I'm like, "Who are you
Who?
talking about?" And then and then he'd turn around and somebody would walk by and "Oh, sorry, hello. Okay, have a good day, sir." He's like, "Is that guy still playing? I got a." I'm like, "What the hell is he doing?" And then I took 5 seconds to listen. We were sitting underneath a flag, in right downtown, and there's a flagpole, and it's going ding, 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 ding. And he's like thinking that's a jazz drummer playing on a ride cymbal, and I'm like, that's the coolest thing. And then I listened to him like jam with this flag for like a minute of like, wow, like that is pretty crazy inspiration.
You want to talk about talent?
And like, I'm sitting there wishing that I had a voice recorder or something to
Capture the
videotape
moment,
this, or
yes.
just like, okay, this is just for me. This is my experience with him. I'll take this to the grave. This is one of the coolest experiences ever. And I was like, so you're playing with the flagpole? And he's like, yeah, drunk dickhead, just, he does whatever. There is no time signature. There is no time.
Crazy.
There is no time. I'm like, that is so cool. And then a moving truck passes on by, and he's like, hey, you ever need anything moved? 667-2875. And it's like, what? And he just plays the phone number on the truck that drives by. And I'm like, this is nuts. This guy's amazing. So like, I've always taken that. It's like,
wow.
Use your surroundings as inspiration for whatever it is that you do. If you're making art, sometimes it's not people, sometimes it's not, the regular forms of inspiration. You could be inspired by literally everything.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a matter of how open you are to that inspiration coming in.
Great life lesson right there.
Yeah.
It's a great life lesson.
Yeah, it was. And so
be present in the moment.
Funny side story, about a year ago when I went to Nashville to go enjoy the city, I was outside of Layla's nightclub in the back. There was a country band that had just finished. The bass player had stepped off stage. He was in the back having a cigarette. We started chatting. I just mentioned, hey, you're a great player, all this other stuff. And he looked at me. He's like, you have a Canadian accent. And I was like, you could pick that out just after a couple words. He's like, absolutely. I've played in Canada a lot. I'm like, that's cool. He's like, I'm originally from Memphis. I've lived in Nashville since like 2010. He's like, but I used to travel up with the blues band, and a couple different bands would go up to Canada, and we'd do this whole circuit. He's like, where are you from? I'm like, Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. And he's like, Bud's on Broadway.
Yep.
I'm like, are you serious?
Mm-hmm.
He's like, yeah, I've played there before. We go and play Blues on White in Edmonton.
Mm-hmm.
And then we would go all the way up to Whitehorse, Yukon. And that's where I met my wife. And I lived there from 2005 to 2010. And I was like, that's insane. Yeah. No one's been to White. What?
How is this a thing?
And literally the last year I've played there was in 2005. And I'm like, 2005. So you would have met Howard. And this guy just crumpled to his knees. And he looks at me, he's like, how, you know Howard? I was like, of course I know Howard. He changed my whole
life,
perception on music.
Dude.
And he just reached out and gave me a hug. He's like, same. Having a 10-minute conversation with that guy can change your life. And I was like, yes. And it did. He's like, I played with Howard 3 times a week for 5 years. And I'm like,
the learning that could have
stories.
There,
so we just sat there shooting stories back at each other. And then he told me that he passed away. And I was like, I think he passed away on September 30th, 2003. And which is very unfortunate. Howard was not a young man when I met him in 2003, 4, or 5. He was probably in his 70s. So he lived for another 20 years most likely playing up until the day he died.
Living through the music.
And yeah, this very pleasant man in Nashville, his name was Andrew. We traded stories back and forth. It was such a great experience. And he went off, and we may never see each other again, but it was just so cool to have this conversation in a different country about this one person who changed both of our lives musically and like kind of inspired us to continue to play music. It was amazing.
Take all of that and think about how many other people have those same experiences like you guys did.
It's thousands.
Right?
It's got to be in the thousands.
And that was probably Howard's master plan.
I don't
Hey,
want to get into his life. But
there's a little bit of Howard in all of us, is what I'm
think
saying.
so. I think so. Because
cool.
A lot of people, from what we heard going up to the Yukon, you're either going there to start something new or you're running away. because you can go be forgotten up in the north. You know, whether it be the Yukon or Alaska or just far north, some people just travel as far as they can away from the rest of society just to be forgotten. And he definitely didn't. He moved there to run away, from what I understand, originally, from money that he may have owed his ex-wife. But he was always in touch with his children, from what I understand. Anyway, people move there for all sorts of reasons. So that's my little Howard tribute to Howard story.
Good tribute. Good tribute.
Now, the picture up here that I have running is from a completely different story. And it was from a different man. So we met a man in Watson Lake, Yukon.
Watson Lake.
It's a small town. It's where the signpost forest is. If anybody's ever been up to Alaska or the Yukon, most likely past signpost forest on the Alaska Highway. It's this crazy place where everybody brings all their signs from all over the planet and leaves a license plate or a sign for your town, or you just leave something there on one of these posts. And it's crazy. I'm assuming it's like millions times bigger than it was the last time I was there. But there's a lot of really cool pictures of this place. Get into a couple of them.
So there's just all different signs.
Yeah,
And it's a whole forest full of this?
you can walk through here for like hours.
It sort of feels like a nightmare.
It's
It's kind of creepy,
scary.
yeah.
And it's right alongside the highway. There's a whole bunch of cool
Look at
stuff.
all of it.
And yeah,
It's like a giant outdoor dive bar.
yeah, and it just keeps going throughout the trees, like people just putting license plates and stuff everywhere, and like, but everywhere. It's cool. So right next to there is a little shack. A guy had a little shack. The man was named Richard. He was a artist, and he would paint. He would do drawings like caricatures.
He lived in this forest?
No.
Oh, he just had a
this
shack
is
there,
right
okay.
next to town. This is right along the highway next to a gas
Gotcha.
station. There's
Yeah.
just all these places.
Yeah.
And he had a little outdoor vendor place where he would sell his photos and prints
Pictures,
and
yeah.
And he was always painting. He was always doing something. And the first time we ever went to Whitehorse with Vagabond, he painted at the Watson Lake Hotel where we were playing. There's this beautiful picture in the windows of these burlesque ladies dancing, and it says, "Welcome the Vagabonds." It's like, that must be for us.
They're giving us the red carpet treatment out here.
Yeah. And so over the time that we were there, Miss Sandy Miller and Miss Grace, they helped us and were just absolutely so nice to us. That's where we met Trish. That's where we met a lot of these lifelong friends that we've had to this day. Was in Watson Lake on that weekend. We had such an amazing time. But Richard he was the guy that everybody would just kind of sit and listen to. They'd ask questions about what it used to be like. What was it like here at this time? What was it? And he was like
The town historian.
kind of, but he wasn't even from there. He was just like this wise man.
He's the wise man.
So
Yodaing.
why I put up the prompt that I did for that picture with the
dire
dog.
wolf. Sorry, timber wolf.
Yeah, and why I wrote Crocodile Dundee type character. It's because he always had this like Crocodile Dundee hat that had like the teeth on it and everything.
Oh.
But it was like the Yukon style. Like this
So they were
is
bear teeth?
There must have been a whole bunch of different stuff in there. It definitely wasn't Australian.
Like a predator.
Yeah. So, and he also had very white beard, white curly mustache, and the white ringlets, like above his sideburns, like the little white rings,
like an old British judge.
Yeah, and his hair just kind of came out the back. He had these little rings, had this hat, and it was just like he was such a mythical person.
Yeah,
it was like
I thought I looked funny. Man, that would be wizard. He's an old wide wizard.
He looks like he was created in a video game,
Totally,
or should be in Harry Potter or something like that.
It's amazing.
And he had this beautiful, like, bright smile you could see from a mile away. And he was just so nice to talk to. and you knew that he had stories.
Richard.
You just knew. And if he had a couple drinks in him, he usually didn't stick around very often. And he would go to bed early because he's got to paint or he's got to do this. But if you did catch him at a certain time where he's like, okay, so there was this one time, everyone would shut up. And they're like, oh, this is going to be cool. So I heard this story from Richard one time, and this could be one of those big fish, tall tale fishing stories that he would tell everybody just to get their jaws on the floor. But this is one of the crazier things that I'd ever heard. So at one point in his life, him and his wife had their second child, and they had moved up to a town in northern BC that wasn't a town anymore. It was an abandoned mining town, and they supposedly bought it and purchased an entire town and moved there. There's buildings there. There's an old store. There's an old this.
It's a nightmare.
And it had been abandoned for quite some time. And he was like, this is going to be a project for me and my wife to make. And one of his children got sick, and they had to go in and out of town. And I believe he may have lost one of his children in one of the winters. And it was a very terrifying experience for them. His wife said, I'm going to take our other child and go. I'm not doing this anymore. And he was, I think at the time, quite stubborn and was like, I'm destined to figure this stuff out up here.
Old wise wizards are always stubborn.
Yes. So this is
Checks
now probably into the 60s or 70s. And he's up in wherever northern BC somewhere, and like off the beaten path, no roads in. Like you got to hike in, hike out. And I remember him saying that the closest thing to where this town was a telephone, like
transmitter or whatever.
yeah,
Telephone
exactly.
pole.
They'd basically put in this big thing that you could get communications to wherever it was, and that's what was near this town. And he would often go there to try and I guess communicate with people back home, and sometimes people would come up to maintain this tower, and that was the only time he'd really ever see people. So that has an important part to this story. So he was out, he would trap for his food, he would trap for furs and stuff, so he could go in and trade for money, so he could come back and have stuff for another couple months for the winter or whatever. So he was out on a trap line, doing his thing, checking his traps, and he got caught in a massive snowstorm, and he can't see anything. It's coming down in feet. He's like, as he keeps going, trying to get back to his camp, he's like, I can't do it. I'm not going to be able to get back to the camp. What I can do is get closer to that tower. So he got as close as where he thought he was to the tower. And he's like, I can't do this anymore. I got to get out of the snow. So he dug a hole in the snow to cover himself for heat.
Yeah.
And he dug it a couple feet down, and he tries to protect himself from the snow and not too deep where he's going to get covered over, because he's planning on staying there for the night. He's a very worldly man. He'd done this before. He knew what he was doing.
Ugh.
So, yes, terrifying stuff, right?
Yes.
And so this is where the story gets a little nuts. And usually when everybody in the room you could hear a pin drop. So he's like, I woke up in the middle of the night to this warm sensation down my neck.
Oh.
And quickly turned into a sensation across his face that was moving. And he couldn't figure out what was going on until he realized that he was moving. He was actually moving across the snow face down. And he went to push himself up, but he pushed into the snow, and then he stopped. And he realized, he's like, something's on my neck. Like, how am I not in the hole?
Yeah.
What is going on here?
Why am I not?
So he goes to reach back onto his neck, and he said all he could feel was his hand on the back of his neck, extremely, like, the sensation was because he was so cold, it was like immediately warm, but from his hand, said as his hand warmed up, he realized it was covered in blood and covered in liquid. So he looks at his hand and it's completely covered in blood. And then he realizes he's still moving. He's like, what is going on? And he goes to look up and he got tugged. And he goes to look up again and he gets tugged again. To find out, as he rolled over and grabbed his knife, he was sitting underneath a timber wolf that had grabbed him by the back of his hair and pulled him out of the hole and had peeled his scalp up to the top of his head, about right here. So it had taken all of this. He was dragging him through the snow by his hair, and he was yanking on it so much that it was pulling the scalp off of his head. And it's all covered in blood, and this wolf is still pulling him. And he woke up in this stupor, slowly started to come to, and had a hand on his knife, and realizes, like, I have to be accurate here. So he rolls over on his back, and the wolf goes to grab his chin with his mouth, and he popped him right up in the jaw with the knife. And now he's got a dying timber wolf on top of him.
No, I thought it was going to be nice like the picture in the video. Look how friendly they are. This story took a horrible turn.
And this man had stories like this, just like they're nothing. Stuff like this happened to him so many times in his life, and he survived.
Did he have any like markings?
Yes, he had a massive scar on the base of his scalp at the very bottom of his neck.
Crazy, dude.
And he said it was so clean. Everything, when they put it back, he put his hat on and healed. He said it was mostly healed back on by the time he got picked up, which was 2 days later. Didn't lose a lot of blood. He managed to get him and the wolf to the tower, where randomly a helicopter came to maintain the tower because of that snowstorm. Somebody, if that person didn't come and
he
maintain
knew that
the tower,
he knew that was coming, right?
he would have died
So
within another day or two.
So hold on, you said and the wolf, the timber wolf as well was with him?
So he had to survive, so he skinned it.
Come on, he didn't go tauntaun on us, did he?
Yeah,
Straight up Star Wars. He Luke
used it as
Skywalker.
the opposite way around. Like he used it as a coat.
Instead of crawling in, he wrapped himself around with.
So
Wow.
he for years.
Imagine how fucking metal that dude looked when the helicopter guy got out.
So
He's got just a timber wolf skull on his head and got wearing his flash. Like, guys, 3 days, really?
like he came out
Holy
and he
shit.
throws out this
Timber wolf.
wolf head on the thing. He was like, "That's it."
That's so
He still
crazy.
had it.
Did he show it to you?
Yeah.
You saw the timber wolf's head. Come on.
It was this massive story, and then all of a sudden it's just like, here.
You
It's
don't
like-
believe me?
It's like a rug.
Dude.
It was like something he set over a chest of.
That's like
stuff.
that's a relic for him. That rug saved his life.
Yeah, it was just
That's
what a
crazy.
friggin' story. And like this guy, one random little story. He told us when he was younger, he worked in a mercury mine, and like handled mercury with his
You can't
bare
do that.
hands.
That's not normal.
No, and like there's people. Most of the people that worked in those types of scenarios are dead.
Yeah.
like.
Poisoning. There's the reason it's called mercury poisoning.
There's these things that he would say over time, and it was like, this is nuts. This can't all have happened to one guy.
Only
like-
Richard. Only Richard.
So I just spoke to a friend of mine earlier on today because I was trying to find some more information about him. I can't remember his last name. So we are actually kind of pretty sure I need to talk to some more people up in the Yukon just to get all this
You got
information.
to reach out to your contacts.
I just found out that he very possibly is still alive,
We need to talk to Richard.
which
we
doesn't surprise me one bit.
need to talk to Richard.
Yes.
You know that Miles Canyon song, Roaches and Willie?
Yeah.
You can add Richard to that list.
Yeah, pretty much. He will be here when the world blows up.
Amazing.
He'll
That's
still be here.
so cool, dude.
Yeah.
Oh,
and
man, we gotta lock that interview down.
I am gonna try. So I guess that
This is
concludes
crazy.
my Yukon stories for today. Don't want to get too nuts, but there's if you're open and willing.
This is your life lesson right here.
Just talk to everybody. Listen to their stories. Like,
Be present.
be
I say
present
this
in the moment.
all the time, man. My biggest struggle in life is being present in the moment because my overactive brain, I'm sure you're sort of the same. Guys that aren't, well, I guess you're a tradesman. You're everything, but it's either like you're going to work or you're going to work in here. So like in here
Right.
is my office. This is where my hammer and my chisel is and all that stuff.
Yeah, and the desk is disorganized.
Yes. Yes. That's a great way of putting it. So with that, and you have all of these things that you're doing, it's like your brain always has so many things going through it.
Yeah.
It never stops.
Never.
It never, ever, ever stops. And when you have that overactive brain, it's so freaking hard to just shut it down. Like I was telling you how excited I was. For the first time in like 2 weeks, I'm going to have like a whole evening just to not think, to turn everything off. And I'm so excited for it, but it's so hard to do because when you're creating stuff all the time, you can't just really shut it down.
No.
So being present is the most important thing. It's the biggest thing I struggle with in my life is just saying, okay, I don't have to worry. I can't do anything about any of that stuff. None of this has to happen now. Just be in the moment. Enjoy the football game. Enjoy the hockey game. Enjoy the chat with my buddy Uncle Gramma. Just being there.
Yep.
It's so easy. So many distractions.
Yep.
I'm with you.
And especially now, in the time that we live in, I was speaking about stories of a time when we didn't have the distractions that we have, but we wanted them.
Yeah.
Like we wanted social media. We wanted all these access to information 25 years ago because it was like, oh, I don't want to go to the library. Because like at this point in time when we're trying to book stuff and as a band back then, we had to go pay money. Here's $10 at an internet cafe in the Yukon, which they only had one. And there's like 6 computers in there in a dark room that people used for gaming. It was like, no, we just want to go on the internet to check our emails. And it's like, you had to go to the computer in town kind of thing. That's like not even being like, oh, back in my day.
No.
That's reality. Like,
it's so true. And, another...
We wanted it. We paid for it.
A spin-off from that. We always talk about how shitty kids are these days. Like, everyone's so shitty because the internet made them that way. And I've had this sort of reanalysis of the situation.
Yeah,
it would have been us too. If we had access
Absolutely.
to all the garbage that all the kids have nowadays, we would be just as shitty. And it sucks for me to say that because I never want to admit, because these kids are so shitty nowadays. But we would have been the same way because you're so polluted with all the information. That's all we ever wanted was what these kids have. So
basically,
other
we're
than
looking at
the
ourselves
whole
in the
6,
mirror. 7 thing. They don't even know what that means.
That's the craziest part about that thing, hey? Not a single person, like there's no meaning to it, and everyone's trying to decipher it.
Well, I from what I heard, it's from Skrilla, the song by a guy named Skrilla, and he refers to, at one point in the song, he talks about 6'7", and he's from a certain part of Southside Chicago. Don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is. And I think it's called Kensington or something like that. It's an area, and I think the road near his house was Highway 67. He just mentions it in a thing, and somewhere down the line, all this stuff got misconstrued. There's a basketball player asked about his height, and then kids started getting into it. This is so completely such useless trash information that is it. But hey, if you're having fun with it, it's fun. Whatever.
Thank you, Skynet.
If it doesn't mean anything, who cares? I'd rather people be silly than take things too serious.
Thank you, Skynet. Uncle Gramma, I love you. I love you. Thank you for continuing to allow us to do this crazy show. One of my favorites on the entire internet right here. We love this one. We love this man. You got some parting words, my friend. Make them count.
Yeah. So, as one of my favorite shirts, and probably one of the best movies of all time.
On this one.
Oh yeah, thanks for wearing that too.
I woke up one morning, no clue how I got it. It was on my body. I was chosen.
So I am going to quote one of my favorite lines from one of the best movies of all time, The Three Amigos. And these are my parting words. Can I have your watch when you are dead?